Hi, my name's Tommy D. I'm a songwriter, a producer and a director of the Music Producers Guild. Adele's phenomenally successful album 21 has sold over 25 million copies worldwide. This supposedly solo album actually features the names of over 200 professionals who contributed to its enormous success. I know this because I own the CD, and the CD comes with a booklet with these credits inside. Credits used to be an important part of the album making process, not just for the people involved, but also for sort of budding young producers and engineers who wondered what these names like Jeff Emerick, Trevor Horn, what they actually did and these jobs that actually were entailed. But what about the modern world? What about if you're streaming on Spotify or if you've bought the album on iTunes? How can you accurately tell who's done what? This is a problem we've been trying to address in a campaign that we run called Credit Where Credit Is Due. And it's a question I decided to ask the recording professionals at the recent MPG Awards.
To me, credits are incredibly important because when I was discovering music and lots of my friends were discovering music, the way we pieced everything together was by looking on the back of records, actually, and seeing who played on what and who recorded what and what studio stuff was recorded in, and gradually we pieced our knowledge together of the bands and the musicians and the studios and the producers we loved just by reading what was available, the incredible detail that used to be available on vinyl.
It's probably in the 70s when I was a kid growing up, reading my dad's and my brother's albums. Like, I would always read the back and see things like mastered by Bob Ludwig, things like that, you know what I mean? And it was like, what does he do really?
I suppose like most people of my generation and my age, I was aware of George Martin's credit on the Beatles, and although I didn't know what he did, I had no real idea, but I was aware that there was a person called the producer.
Well, that has really been a long battle because who is actually responsible for the credits? It depends who's writing the credits, and it could be the difference between a rag newspaper and the Sunday Times. I don't know, depending on who wants to say what.
I'm very fortunate with things that happen with me in my career, but I think for the young guys out there, people who are starting out, guys and girls, you know, credits are everything, and it's really important that they get the recognition.
Credits are really important. I think, especially building your career. You know, a lot of, we've been doing this for a while now, but a lot of the younger kids that are coming through, there's not that much money in the industry, so all you're trying to do is help and build your name so that you could get some recognition for your input in the music that you're helping to produce.
When I sort of had my first big hit, Video Killed the Radio Star, on the album Living in the Plastic Age, initially Jeffrey and I never actually credited anyone. I mean, this wasn't because we wanted to claim all the credit for ourselves. It's just because we wanted the album to seem like it had come from nowhere. We wanted it to seem like it didn't have sort of mortal people on it, normal people. But actually, at the time, it hurt. I remember it hurt a lot of people. It hurt a lot of the guys that played on it. It also left it wide open for about 4 or 5 different people to claim that they went, oh, which, I know who did it. So there's a load of people out there, stop saying you did it, because you fucking did it and you know it.
I think it's sad, the fashion to sort of downplay intellectual property and copyright. I think it's terrible, and I think that what's happened, in order to make Google function as an organism, they just need content.
And now I rely on credits in my professional work at Sound on Sound magazine, and it's a mess. Well, in this day and age, you're reliant on the internet, and the internet is wrong. More often than not, the internet is wrong.
Where would you look? I mean,
Brilliant.
Where would you look? It's just not good enough.
And of course, to us as working professionals, it's really important so that our work can be acknowledged and sometimes, even if we're lucky, paid for.
People don't know otherwise, and it's important for any sort of breakthrough artist who want a young engineer or something, they listen to a record, they've got to know who these people are. It's really important.
I could give you a tenner for everything I've been credited for that I didn't do. I would be about 500 quid. So people will big you up when they want to, and they'll just forget about you when this happens all the time.
People think that they shouldn't pay for music. I mean, why should they? You know, we all have a great time in the music business. We just get up and go happily and make music like the wonderful minstrels that we are. We don't need to eat. We don't need to have families, you know. We don't need to have any kind of life. The music's enough. Get out of it.
There absolutely is a way of being able to somehow embed this information into a digital file. So you understand, you know, not only what you're listening to, but you know the person who painted the picture, you know, the person who realised this thing. And I think that's only fair and just, and I think that it would work very well for a profession that is feeling the pinch at the moment. People don't get credit for things and they don't get paid. We're all fighting for our lives at the moment, and at least just to be able to be name checked in the first place would be a good start.
I think credits are really important for guys like myself and producers and mastering engineers. You know, when I first started, it was like, if I didn't get a credit on an album, and I've done a lot of work on that, I was really miffed. You know, I think it's a good thing to have. And you know, at the moment, if especially with digital downloads and all that sort of stuff, if you don't get a credit, it pisses me off.
I know when I worked with T-Rex, for a while I was getting credited as the producer, the string arranger, and maybe the recorder player, mellotron player. And then with the third album, Mark Boland stopped giving me all those credits. And I said, why didn't you want to credit me for the strings and all that? He says, because your name was mentioned more times than mine.
Mastering engineer and MPG director Barry Grint has potentially come up with a solution utilising the industry standard ISRC code.
Once you have the ISRC embedded within the WAV file, it can be used in lots of other ways because you've absolutely identified that particular file. You've identified that version of a track. So you can have a database made up that does have all the information about who's performed on it and who the composers are and that sort of thing.
So the MPG initiative to attach ISRC codes to broadcast WAVs and potentially MP3s in the future is an important step forward and something that should be applauded. For more information, go to the MPG site at mpg.org.uk. Thank you.